The deal is final. The Spurs will send Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green to the Raptors for DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Poeltl, and a 2019 first-round pick, league sources tell me.
In the finals, your 2019 Bill Russell Finals MVP is Kawhi Leonard.
It's kind of crazy to actually say, but when you really think about it, Kawhi Leonard significantly reshaped 3 teams in 1 calendar year. Now, really quickly, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications. Also, like the video. That stuff helps out my channel. So if you can do it for me really quickly, I'll definitely rock with you. But back to Kawhi, these 3 franchises may possibly be forever changed because of one quiet man. Now, let's get to the first team and possibly the most affected team, the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors, prior to Kawhi Leonard, was, let's just be honest, a legit laughingstock. They were the Cincinnati Bengals. They were the Buffalo Bills. All those sports teams that never got over the hump, that's basically who the Raptors mirrored. Like, the year prior to Kawhi joining, Toronto won the most regular season games in franchise history. They wrapped up the #1 seed in the entire Eastern Conference. And at that point, they looked to have one of the deepest benches in the entire NBA. But to no one's surprise, once they met their co-owner in the Eastern Conference semis, the Raptors melted and they got absolutely swept. Their best player completely folded and went from averaging 23 points in the regular season to only 16 points in that series. And to make matters even worse, ultimately, they were the first team in NBA history to get their coach fired after he just won NBA Coach of the Year, and you get fired. This was basically the Raptors in a nutshell. No playoff medal, too nice of a city, and a place where stars really never wanted to play long term. Hence why they lost Vince Carter, T-Mac, Chris Bosh, etc. Nobody really wanted to play there. But when they got Kawhi, it almost immediately changed. Pascal Siakam had a career year and won Most Improved Player, and now he's an all-star. Fred VanVleet, an undersized, undrafted point guard who was kind of known for being a Drake clone at first, he went from averaging 8 points to averaging 14 points in the finals to now averaging 18 points a game this season. That typically doesn't happen for a guy who was undersized, undrafted, played 4 years in college, in and out of the D-League, all that. So you can just see the impact. And Kyle Lowry, a guy who I was never really a fan of, who had a very questionable resume, especially in the playoffs, he went from being that guy to being an NBA champion. And in that NBA Finals, he made big plays on both sides of the ball. So I gained a new respect for him. And obviously, they went on to win the NBA championship. And now look what the spark of one player, one incredible run did for an entire country. I'm a big tennis fan, and last year, Canada, they had their first Grand Slam champion, Bianca Andreescu. She beat Serena Williams in the US Open, so that was a big thing. After being a laughingstock in sports for so many years, last year, Canada actually had a great year. And look at how that success residue is still sticking around. Last year, the Raptors actually got a taste at success at the highest level, and I think they developed permanent championship mettle. Last year, with Kawhi Leonard, they ranked 2nd in total team defense. This year, they ranked 3rd, so it really wasn't that much of a drop-off. Last year, they won 58 games. This year, they're on pace to win 60 and break their franchise record. This year, they have 5 players averaging over 15 points. So collectively, they're winning, and that championship high hasn't faded one bit. I'm not trying to dump all this on Kawhi, but you can just see the impact of his great play and how that permanently elevated that entire franchise. Even if they don't win again, they're going to be around and going to be scrappy for a little while. And I think they're 1 star away from a possible 2-time champion. So who knows? Now, we just went from talking about a team that never elevated themselves to the next level without Kawhi Leonard. Well, the next team is possibly the exact same team, maybe even a little bit worse, just in the Western Conference. The Clippers, they've been a laughingstock, a little brother, the team that never won even when they had the necessary talent. Like, this is who they've been. I still can't believe, and I still can't believe this because I was rooting for the Clippers like crazy. In 2014, the Clippers were tied 2 games apiece with OKC. And in Game 5, this was the score with 45 seconds left. The series is tied 2 games apiece, so if they win this game, they get a chance to play Game 6 at home and close out the series, finally getting to the Western Conference Finals. But this was the final score, and they ultimately lost in 6 games. That series alone, that was a true representation of what the Clippers were for like the last 40 years or whatever. Or better yet, you probably think that's pretty bad, and it is, but it gets better or worse for the Clippers. Let's look at the next year. That was 2014. Let's fast forward to 2015. Chris Paul, to that point, he had never been to the Western Conference, so that was a big deal for him. He had a chance versus OKC, as I just explained, but he fumbled that, or they fumbled that. But the next year, they played the Rockets in the semis, and they got up 3-1. The James Harden, Dwight Howard, Kevin McHale Rockets, they were up 3-1 against that team, and they lost the series in 7 games. In Game 6, the Clippers had a 19-point lead at home in the third quarter, and this was the final score. They got outscored 40-15 in the fourth quarter and lost the game and ultimately lost the series. Like, they got outscored when James Harden was on the bench. Josh Smith, Ryan Anderson, they beat Chris. This is their history. Like I said, I think theirs have been a little bit worse because when they had Chris Paul and the Lob City crew, I think they had the necessary talent to win the NBA championship, but injuries or choking, that always got in their way. But now with Kawhi Leonard, who's already been through the rebirth of an unproven choking franchise, the Clippers to me are the clear favorites. And even if they don't win this year, they still have a relatively young Kawhi, Paul George, Lou Williams, and Pat Bev for at least another year. And I think they'll be a popular landing spot for potential free agents. They already got Marcus Morris and Reggie Jackson at the trade deadline, so their championship window to me is at least 3 years plus. Now, lastly, and I saved them for last because they're the only ones benefiting in a negative way, but the San Antonio Spurs. Just to keep it blunt, when Kawhi Leonard left the Spurs, the dynasty instantly died. I saw a very telling post on Twitter about the pretty inexplicable moves of Greg Popovich, and I'm showing y'all now, it's been pretty bad. Like, you can see the impact of not having Kawhi immediately. The last year of Kawhi being healthy in San Antonio, the Spurs won 61 games and they made it to the Western Conference Finals against Golden State, and they were up by 20 in Golden State. They had a legit chance of getting to the finals, but Zaza Pachulia did his thing and he ruined that. But the KD Warriors possibly could have lost if Kawhi Leonard was there. And the year before that, they won 67 games and they started their first 38 home games 38-0. Like, this is how dominant they were with Kawhi Leonard. Then the year he sat out, or quote unquote quit, as Skip Bayless would call it, the Spurs ended their 18 straight seasons with 50+ win streak. Like, that ended as soon as he sat out, so you can just see it. Then Kawhi left, won a chip, and the Spurs, they got bounced out in the first round for the second consecutive year. And now this year, Greg Popovich is on pace to have his first losing season in 23 years. So you can just see, man, they just fumbled when Kawhi left. DeMar DeRozan, he's been mentioned in multiple trade rumors. LaMarcus Aldridge, he'll probably be moved by next year before his contract expires so they can get something for him. And I don't really see any foreseeable bright future, and all that started when Kawhi left. Like I said, in one calendar year, he changed 3 franchises. On July 18th, 2018, he got traded to the Raptors and forever changed them and possibly forever changed the Spurs. On July 10th, 2019, he signed with the Clippers, and if he brings that chip in 3 years, which I think he will, that franchise is no longer a laughingstock, and he changed that franchise. So, like I said, in 3 years, or in 1 year, he changed 3 teams. If you guys enjoyed the video, as always, make sure you guys leave a like. The NBA All-Star break is finally over. Once it gets past that, I think we're finally entering the real NBA season. So I can give you guys a lot more content now because we're in the crunch time of the NBA. If you guys like the video, turn on post notifications, follow my Twitter. That's where I'm at mostly. Do all that great stuff, guys. And as always, until next time, stay tuned.